Good morning. We're fixing our hair. We're settling in. We've got Dan Merle back.
Hello.
It's a great day.
I feel like I was gone for a few days. I missed so much news.
You did.
So many things. There's one thing I did want to say, though, which is like, I'm such a huge fan of Spider-Man. I had no idea that you were so integral in getting Tom Holland added to the MCU.
Who did this to me?
I had no clue.
Which one of you did this to me?
I can't believe you never told me that.
And it's like, because I didn't want to look into the leak and like Google people's names because that's immoral and unethical.
I stayed away from all the leaked emails.
So thank you for telling us.
Yeah, no, good. So last night, my boyfriend advised me, you can't show weakness like that. You can't let them know when you're embarrassed.
Nobody
about
put
something.
me up to it.
What are we, bears?
They will continue.
Hide your insecurities in
Don't break eye
that
contact. Make a lot of noise.
Even when I'm not on the show, these weird little dribs and drabs of information,
get
they
to you?
leak to me. People, I don't know how they just
Arkansas.
find their way to me. I don't know. So I felt like I wanted to pull some shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Yeah, he was just like, you can't let them know. You can't let them know it's blood in the water. But I am embarrassed by it, so that will continue, I'm sure. In the interim, Danielle is here, which is a wonderful thing.
Hi.
We're going to talk about important things today, guys. We actually have one really interesting story that I think you're going to like. Spencer Gilbert's here to set us straight about what John Wick is all about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's your job today.
Kills people, likes dogs. Done.
Okay, show's over. Goodbye, JT. John Wick 3 trailer came out today. It is going to be released on 5/17/19. This is the return of Keanu Reeves. Halle Berry's in this one. Ian McShane. Lawrence Fishburne. We're going to talk about the matrix of it all. Of course, Lance Reddick, who I just want him to star, and I've said this for so long, and I think they were even talking about it for a while. Again, I'll just claim credit for that too. The Continental series, like I just wanted a Continental HBO series starring Lance
They're making a John
Reddick.
Wick TV show, aren't
They are, but I don't know if it's about the Continental. I wanted it just to be called The Continental and starring Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
It's weird
So
because in my
HBO, if
head,
you're listening.
the Continental is the Christopher Walken SNL character.
Oh, yeah.
Please, champagne, caviar. So I kind of want a series called The Continental that's just that crossover.
Crossover
he
series
fit right in.
available.
The Continental lives in the Continental.
And that character was basically Pepe Le Pew as a human.
He was human
Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, yeah.
I'd like to add to the cast, I believe I saw, and this is a tongue twister, a bleached blonde Bronn. Bronn from Game of Thrones.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But he was
Bleached
bleach blonde and
blonde Bronn.
slick back. He was
Yeah.
a bleach blonde Bronn.
I like it.
Other Braun facts. Oh, yeah,
There he is.
There he is. Other Braun facts include that he was a pop star. He was in
That's
like a
true.
two-man group pop star who got so famous in the UK that he kind of disappeared and lived on an like literal island for a period of time and then came back out as Braun.
That's awesome.
And now he's blonde Braun.
And now he wears an ascot.
Yeah.
And it appears they shot his scenes on the set of Game of Thrones. Just
Yeah.
looking at that, I think he's so busy that they just
They just
decided,
had to go there.
Listen, we'll just shoot it there. I think, is that Hodor back there?
Right, yeah. Well, also, spoiler, the return of Hodor.
Yeah, exactly.
Chad Stahelski directs this film. And it is following, okay, so basically he's excommunicated. There's a $14 million contract on his life. Everybody in New York is after him. We saw this a little bit by the end of John Wick 2. What's interesting to me tonally about this trailer is that, look, John Wick was always a fan. I want to point out a fact about the dog facts. Dog was inciting incident in the first film.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this film, dog is equal participant.
I love it.
I love it.
It's the full circle.
It's the full circle. Like not this little guy. Although look at that little. but the it looks like a.
German Shepherd.
It looks like a shepherd at the end is just like, I'm in it too. We're here to fight together, which is amazing. Which brings me to my overall thread about this is that it's now come full circle. Like it was sort of somewhat reality adjacent, and then in the it kind of jumped the shark a little bit in the end of the last one, and then it's like, no, we're just reality divorced. We're going full Fast and the Furious. There are no rules. Dogfight man, it's on. You know, thoughts?
I love it.
I'm in. I'm in.
I loved both of those movies. I loved the gritty, just like Keanu Reeves of it all in the first one. I loved how just crazy the second one was, like that the subway fight where they're just like beep, 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 like, just shooting at each other was like, of course that would never work in real life. But I love the escalation, and this is like the crescendo.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm in.
There's he's on a horse at one point.
I love that.
He beats a man with a gun. It's great.
He throws a gun like an
at a dude,
axe.
yeah.
He kills a man with a book.
Yeah.
And I hope he says the pen is mightier than the sword or something like that after that.
And then just.
Yeah, they've gone like full anime. I mean, this is I remember
Look at this.
being.
Look at this shit, you guys. Come on.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's just all the rule of cool. It's like, would it be cool if this would happen? Yes.
Yes.
Like, there's no reason why you would be like, let's get John Wick. Bring the swords.
Yeah.
bring the close combat swords. Let's get on our motorcycles and with our bladed weapons.
You know what I would
did
do
it in Final
is
Fantasy VII, so
I,
why not do it again?
I would have with all the tech that these assassins clearly have in the training, I feel like I would just get a drone with a tiny bomb that would just go directly above his head. But this is so much more fun with swords and dogs.
Yeah, I would get an ascot with a tiny bomb. Wait for him to put it on, or like a suit or something like that, because they're all very stylish.
They really
I love
are.
that you set the franchise up from the very beginning of the Baba Yagas. Like, this is the man who can do anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's John Wick's whole thing, is like the man who can do anything. So I think this is how you work it with a film series. In film number 1, you talk about how he's the man who can do anything. In film number 2, you show him doing many things that you did not think a man can do. And film 3 is where he does everything. He's going to do it all. The man who can do anything does everything, and then you're done.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Trilogy done.
Yeah.
I just want
Trilogy
at the
done.
end of this, I want him to throw a helicopter at a man.
Yes.
It's like, pick it up,
Just
and
full-
throw it at them.
But that's what I'm saying. It goes full circle. I think when I don't like the would it be cool question and answer yes, do it, is when the movie doesn't know that that's what it's doing. So when it's trying to be about something else, ostensibly, and then really it's just making decisions based on, is it cool, do it. But in this case, it's clear, like, that is this world. We don't care. It's complete wish fulfillment. It's Keanu Reeves doing insane things. He's riding horses. Why is he on that horse? Don't care.
It insulted him. Who knows? It doesn't matter. He tamed it. There's a scene of him taming a horse
Well,
in
he
the
likes
meadow,
animals.
and then he does like animals. So
Yeah.
he's like Aragorn. He's just a friend of the horses.
Interesting.
The
Yeah,
horse
maybe
lords.
this is like, because Lawrence Fishburne has a pigeon network, if I recall, from John Wick 2. So maybe he becomes like all the humans have turned on him, so he becomes a druid.
Yeah.
And he starts commanding nature
Yeah.
because that's the only place he can turn.
I want
I
that
feel like
so bad.
that's 4.
Yeah,
Not
that's
unlike
4.
Halloween.
He's like summoning
Yeah.
vines from the
4 or
ground to
5.
grab people's guns.
Or like at the beginning of Cinderella, where it's just all of the animals are around. One of them drapes his bandolier on him. The other one hands him his gun.
Yep.
I love
like it.
all of this.
Like a Disney princess.
I like that the dogs are fighting back on their own behalf. It just is
Yeah.
all working for me. You guys let us know what you think. Is it too far or right on target?
I'll tell you something that's not working for me.
Uh-oh.
John Wick 3, Parabellum?
Yeah, it should just be
Well,
John
you
Wick
can't,
Chapter
you
3.
can't put a colon on us after 2 movies with no colon or subtitle.
You got a colon this time. You got a colon this
At
time.
least turn the E's of Parabellum into 3s.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
There's a colon and a dash, because it's not John Wick 3 Parabellum. It's John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, which
that's too
you
many.
it's
Man,
too
that's
many.
too
There's
many.
too much
John Wick
punctuation.
3! Clean. It's perfect.
Yeah, you know what? Well, apparently, I feel like you told me this. Did you tell
Yes,
me this?
that when they do words instead of numbers, people don't feel like they have to see all the preceding ones.
Yeah, but they've blown that because now they're just doing words and
Yeah,
numbers
that's
and
the
a lot
worst.
of punctuation. Now we're just confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Clean
a
it up.
charter, it's very difficult for me to decipher. For example, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. There's already a colon
Yeah.
between Mission and Impossible. So is it a dash? Is it a comma? These are the things that the chart
Yeah.
industry has to worry about when you
Yeah.
get complicated with your titles.
Yeah.
Data entry errors can
Yeah.
cause big pileups.
Great movie. Clean it up on the marketing side.
Yeah.
We're here to help. I imagine we'll be seeing that adjustment made by next week.
If Ralph Cornett gets on it.
Yeah, and I'm on it. So as we know, my word is law on the internet. Netflix. This one has so much to it. It's shade, it's spice, it's drama, it's intrigue, it's corporate intrigue, and then it's ethics and documentary, which sounds boring, but it's going to be fun, I promise. Hulu threw so much shade at Netflix this week, and we have Spencer Gilbert here as our own very expert who actually saw
Because
this
I
film.
watched the documentary.
That's literally all it takes,
expert,
right here on
yes.
SJU. You watch the thing, you are the expert. So basically, Hulu released a documentary that was in direct competition with a documentary that Netflix is set to release tomorrow on Friday about the Fyre Fest. So we'll talk about what that is in a minute, but the Fyre Fraud is the Hulu show that was released suddenly on Monday without much buildup, meaning they didn't really give Netflix a warning. And then Fyre, which Netflix has been promoting, goes out tomorrow. More stuff. So, in addition to that, at the end of Fyre Fraud, the Hulu documentary, they call out the Netflix documentary for having one of their production partners be the actual marketing company that was behind Fyre Fest. So there's an ethical question, but hold on, the ethics are not done. Because then the director of the Netflix documentary said, wait, you paid the person that created this festival $250,000 for your interview for the Hulu documentary. And the reason we know is because he then came to us and said, will you pay me $125,000? Why? Because he's a con man, as evidenced in this documentary. And Netflix said no, but meanwhile, they're in bed with the marketing company that sold the festival. Here's the festival in a nutshell. From what I understand, because I was not there, because I'm not rich, is that it was basically like...
Or stupid.
Well, I'm definitely not rich. It was basically sold as like fancy Coachella, and then people got there and it just didn't exist, and they had no rooms, and they were stranded. And
I shouldn't call people that went to the Fyre Festival. I know I'm going to hear about that. It was an easy punchline, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to get ahead of it now.
I don't know.
Welcome back to
Yeah, I know, right? I was gone for 3 days,
here.
and
Yeah.
my comment filter went off, and I went for an easy joke, and nope, shouldn't do that because someone's going to tweet me saying like, well, you know what? My cousin went, and he's not very, and I just know where it's going.
And he's
I
a
apologize.
PhD in physics.
No, it's fine.
It's an
Dan,
easy
because
punchline.
Really, the beauty of this documentary is there's no one to cheer for. It's
Yeah.
these people who thought, I'll spend $10,000 at least. That's when you don't spring for the villa package that they created to generate even more cash to villas that did not exist.
Yeah.
I'll spend 10 grand to basically take Instagrams of myself in front of like Blink 182 and a swimming pig. But I guess
One of those sounds
I'm sorry. The
interesting.
people who got screwed are the people like the locals
Yes.
in the Bahamas and the
Yeah.
Exumas who had to work on this complete fraud, like, and got stiffed on the bills in a lot of ways.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
they
lot
brought
of
in
promises
people.
were broken.
Yeah.
They had to work crazy amounts of overtime to just get to the bare survival minimum of a human habitat.
Well, now I'm really angry.
Yeah, they're the only
Yeah.
people who should have your sympathies. Everyone else, you know, they ended up fine. They had to eat some cheese sandwiches and wait in an airport for a really long time. But they all got completely conned, and it turns out that like there were signs this whole time that this thing was a complete fraud that were out there. But the hype was too big, and like when Kylie Jenner says like, check it out, it's happening, it's going down, like that's the stamp of legitimacy they needed to spend
That's
that
a
much money.
terrifying metric.
Yes.
But-
But it was great. Yeah, it was. It's a fascinating documentary. The Hulu one, at least, because the Netflix one is now yet, like really tries to put this in context of like the millennial experience and where legitimacy comes from and what's important to them, and how this guy completely manipulated those factors, mostly of social media, mostly of buying off influencers, and with the help of Jerry Media, who did
Yeah.
a brilliant campaign. And even when they knew that this was not going to be as advertised, the campaign was still running like 1 day left, like let's do it, even though it was basically a smoking crater in the ground at that point.
And they do call out the Netflix documentary at the end
They
of the
don't
Hulu,
by
yes?
name. They say Jerry Media is like a partner on another documentary about Fyre Festival.
Right, and so
They
Jerry
don't say
Media
on
is the
Netflix.
marketing company that marketed Fyre
Fyre Fest,
Festival,
yeah.
and they are partnering with Netflix on the documentary that's on Netflix, which frankly is a pretty clear conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little. I want to get to those questions about documentary filmmaking itself, but let's talk about the shade, the corporate shade from Hulu to Netflix.
God, is this going to be the next 10 years? Like,
Oh,
is
yeah,
this because this is like
your
it's
popcorn.
This and YouTube drama are just like, oh, really? Is this going to be the same story now? I was like, you'll never believe what Amazon said about CBS All Access. Like, no, I don't want that to be the next 10 years
here
of news.
for it.
I'm here for the tea.
Oh, God.
Spill the tea.
I mean, this was obviously Hulu was looking to pick a fight. Obviously looking to pick a fight, and this is where we're going. We saw this coming down the road. This is it.
This is
We're in the end game now.
Like, Hulu just put a horse head in Netflix's
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is an open declaration of war.
Yes.
And Hulu is obviously looking to establish themselves as the perceived power player against Netflix.
I don't even think it was that. I think because they aren't they are the heavily perceived underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they put the horse head in. It's a total power move, and it's I believe. That's my tinfoil hat. I believe it's a power move on the part of Disney in total, saying like, we're coming at you from every freaking where. Everywhere we can come at you, we're just going to come at you, Netflix. But the fascinating thing about that is it's not like the streaming wars are between, the Disney streaming service and Netflix at this point. It's Warner Brothers. Universal has its own. Amazon's still out there. Apple's doing whatever crazy stuff
MGM
that
has
Apple's
one
doing.
coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everywhere. So that's what's really fascinating about this power play in particular between the two of them. But also, they are really just ultimately advertising to each other.
Yeah,
That's
one
true.
thing I think for people who don't, one of the major things and how this became such a story is that it is theorized that the reason why Hulu released this documentary with no fanfare, with nothing, is because it came out the same day that the embargo was up for the Netflix documentary. So if you're going online and you're looking for Firefest documentary,
Whoa.
Hulu.
Okay, interesting.
And
Yeah,
Netflix
I gotta
doesn't.
That's what I
say,
think.
I'm impressed with Hulu.
Yeah, there are macro
That's some
considerations
sweet
here.
shade.
But even on it's great shade. On the micro level, like you have, if you're making Dante's Peak and you find out that somebody else is working on Volcano and it's maybe got a bigger budget or it's got a bigger marketing push behind it, like you got to get creative and you got to just, this could just be a marketing strategy just for this movie. It's
Yeah.
like, shit, we're making the exact same thing Netflix is doing. Let's just drop it with no explanation. And then the conversation about it will be the marketing for it.
That's so smart.
Is
I love it.
Hulu's-
Love that sweet
Is
shade.
Hulu's documentary going to be as superior to Netflix's, though, as Dante's Peak was to Volcano? The clearly superior of the two
And
Volcano
you know
movies.
what? And I have a follow-up question to that because it's not enough to make the better Armageddon, as we saw from Deep Impact.
Yeah.
You also have to have Aerosmith and Ben Affleck involved.
Sometimes
so
you
I
gotta
don't
be
know.
Armageddon.
which one has Ja Rule?
This one definitely got a lot of Ja Rule in it.
Well, that's an interesting point, Spencer, because you're right. This could have just been a move sort of on the part of this film, and now we're going to interpret it as an overall kind of strategy for how they're going after each other. But you got to figure that Ted Sarandos is like pissed.
Yeah.
And just in general.
All the time now.
Well,
He was the only kid on the block, and now there's like 40 people, and it's like John Wick. It's like that John Wick poster. It's like Netflix, and then 50 streaming
Yeah.
services all pointing their guns at him.
Someone make that.
It's like that, it's like you were doing great, and then
Yeah.
now all of a sudden like you got the Bird Box,
Yeah.
you're doing good, you're winning, but now you upped your prices, and now people are like, well, are they doing as good as they, what's going to be too high? And now everybody's coming for you. They're all coming for each other, but really, I think they're also kind of coming for Netflix.
Oh, they're all coming for Netflix.
So yeah, I mean, if you're Ted Sarandos, you got to be like, well, strap in.
Let me get
We're
a
going to
get a
war.
German Shepherd.
Yeah,
And
go
Halle
to the
Berry.
desert and grab Halle Berry because this is going to be a fight.
That's amazing. So
Shonda Rhimes. Did he make the big Netflix deal with her?
he Shonda Rhimes and
Kenya Burris? Right?
yeah,
Burris.
a number of
Did Ryan Murphy do
and
a
Ryan
Netflix
Murphy.
deal? Yeah.
It's interesting, and just because I feel like we talk so fast and we don't contextualize something, Ted Sarandos, I know you guys know this, but is the head of Netflix, who created the model that everyone is now haunting. So he's just going to have to get his horse and ride through Manhattan at this point. But there's also, I like the idea that he's also now the Hulk and just pissed all the time.
I'm always angry.
A little bit. This is just fascinating to watch. So let's come back to the streaming and what we think it means, because if they didn't mean to do an overall horse head, then has Hulu overplayed their hands a little bit? Because they are a little bit the underdog in the sense of they're still chasing international licenses.
Yeah.
but I like it, man. Be bold, Hulu. Be bold.
Can I ask you a question?
that shade.
Because you have a background in documentary filmmaking.
Yeah.
I know with
As
news.
you can tell from my mature behavior.
But I know with news there are ethical questions about paying for an interview.
Yeah.
When it comes to a documentary, is it similarly unethical to pay an interview subject, or is that common?
So with documentary, it's really interesting, and that's one of the things that comes up for me is that there are so many ethical questions in documentary period, which is one of the reasons why it's very hard to do. And I found it very hard to. It wasn't as hard. So part of my role was acquisitions, which was just to assess their merits. But in making them, it's much more challenging because you are given the trust of not only the subject, who is a real person, not a character, but also the audience. And then the subject, meaning if the subject is a broader social political kind of commentary, then you're given all of these trust points that you can at any point accidentally or on purpose betray. So I find it very, very challenging, and I think that I'm very impressed with people that are good at this because I think it's the hardest thing really to do is a well-made documentary that also doesn't cross any of those lines. Long story, endless about that. I do think there's an ethical problem with paying $250,000 to your subject.
Although Spencer has a theory about.
I will say this. This Billy McFarland, the subject, the guy who put on Fire Festival, went to Netflix and told them that they were offering $250,000. This is the same guy who put on the Fire Festival,
that's true.
who scams everybody he comes across.
And didn't they say it wasn't that much that they paid?
And Hulu says it was less than that. And I'm sure they paid him, but so let's say it's closer to 125 or something like that. How much is your dignity worth? Because this guy comes across like the most Titanic a-hole of all time. He's flustered, he's stumped, he's talking out of his ass. They call him on it repeatedly. It is very compelling.
So it wasn't a sweetheart interview. It wasn't like they paid him and were just like, we're going to take it easy on you.
Yeah, but he's going to prison, right? So that's a lot of money in commissary. Like that's a lot of toothbrushes. That's a lot of ramen.
He does owe a bit.
I have questions. I have follow-up questions because, and I don't know how this applies for fraud, but like for murder, if you're convicted of a murder, you can't then profit. If you say then write a book about that murder, you can't profit from it by law. You literally just can't make money off it. So how does that apply
What's
to
confusing
fraud?
is that I think the thing is that he's going to jail for like several other frauds.
It's not just this one.
That were also happening. So maybe he's selling his Fire Festival story to cover the cost for his like ticket selling scams or his credit card scams or his box of crayons scams, which he actually had. Like he's a.
How can you have a box of crayons? What is a box of crayons
You have to watch the documentary. But he's a born and bred scam artist.
Frank Abagnale, though, the Catch Me, maybe you have to be rehabilitated because the Catch Me If You Can, the guy that movie was about, like apparently made a very good living writing books about fraud and you know how to prevent fraud prevention and like it's how he makes his living now. So I wonder.
OJ wrote "If I Did It."
Well, I think that might have been why he added the if.
But he wasn't. He wasn't convicted.
Poor Dirty John. If only he had been around to see how popular he would become.
That's the distinction for OJ. Is OJ was not convicted. If you are convicted of a murder, you cannot. Like Ted Bundy couldn't have written the book about Ted Bundy and made money off it.
Plus, they did give those rights to the Goldman family.
Yeah, they wound up getting it in a lawsuit.
You know.
So I don't know. I mean, I literally, lawyer Danielle, you'll have to follow up with us on that. I really don't know if there are distinctions, and there very well may be. But that's just a question for me. I think there's an ethical issue, but to your point, Spencer, for this particular documentary, they probably couldn't have gotten it made without that interview, and it may just be something that they were willing to do and then not hold back in it.
They did not hold back.
Which we're all going to watch them now. Is the reality? They have only helped each other. Maybe they're in bed together.
I'm watching both of them this weekend. I wanted to watch it back to back. I have been obsessed with the Fire Festival since it started.
Yeah,
and the pictures started
I
coming
need to
out.
see both of these.
Badly, so badly.
Maybe this is full wrestling at this point, and it's an elaborate subterfuge to drive to each other's documentary.
There's going to be alliances made.
And broken.
And broken friends and enemies.
Cats and dogs.
Living together, and now we're in Ghostbusters.
We already did that.
You missed that.
That's one I'm happy to
dodge that bullet.
have skipped out on for now.
I find this whole story really, really fascinating. And there's probably going to be multiple documentaries about what was happening behind the scenes at all of these companies and a number of narrative films as well in the coming years.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, guys, there's one network that I think we're all devoted to for about an hour every week. There's appointment viewing for each and every one. This is the only appointment viewing, really, at this point, and that is The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
And if we're honest, we need to talk about Unicorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get my notes out.
Yeah,
JT,
get your
drop
notes.
that spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoilers. Spoilers for Deer.
Masked Singer, spoiler alert.
Now, if you didn't see last night's episode and you don't want to know who Deer is, it's important that you check out now. But if it's about like the journey and not the destination as it is
I did
for
miss
Spencer.
it last night. I've seen the other episodes though, and I know it's an athlete and he can't sing, so it doesn't really matter at this point. I wasn't too curious about Deer.
This is what gave Deer away to the panelists who were like, Joel McHale was randomly there.
Joel McHale.
I
Why
was
he
like,
there?
what was that?
I loved him being there because he's the only one on that panel yet that has acknowledged how weird the show is.
Right.
Like, I love that he didn't take it seriously at all. He was just like, this is weird. He's like, what's going on here? Like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever been a part of. Like, why is anyone taking this seriously? I love it. He just did not care. He was just like, what is this thing? What is going on?
I have
Was
a
it him or
question.
Robin Thicke that identified Deer?
I have a question because I missed
Robin
it.
Thicke did.
I missed last night's episode. I'll watch it eventually.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
I'm okay with spoilers, but do they give new clues?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You get new clues, which
Wow.
frankly only makes it all the more confusing.
There were some
Because
things. Yeah.
I thought I had Unicorn pegged, and now I'm not so sure. So this is what gave away Deer for Robin Thicke. It was how he laughed
Okay.
like this.
The
Does that
shoulders.
help you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It was a retired NFL legend, currently in broadcasting.
Troy Aikman.
No.
No.
Although there was some Terry
guess.
Bradshaw.
Ah,
Terry Bradshaw
yeah.
was revealed as Deer.
Okay.
And the poor man.
He was really excited
He-
to be done.
He was excited to be done. Like he
so
performed on this like platform, and he was going down. He could not go down the stairs. His knees are so
He ain't got no
shot.
knees.
Man.
He had two people on each side of him supporting him walking down the stairs, and which. Of course, Joel McHale used to his advantage because he was like, "Those are the knees of a former professional athlete." Like he was merciless in dissecting the clues.
You know what I also thought? Okay, so that's Terry Brad. He's done.
Deer's
Deer's been
gone.
revealed. He was happy to be done.
Yes.
And he was a little bummed about how critical they were of his voice, I noticed.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Apparently, he released an album
He
at some
put
point
out an album, so we're told.
in the '70s.
Well, and it's also, I will
So did
say,
Hulk Hogan.
it was almost creepier for when he took
So did
off.
Randy Savage.
Now, Be a Man Hogan.
Yeah.
is
Be a Man Hulk is great. Yeah.
a great album. Because he takes off, and of course that mask is so creepy. The deer is especially like the most haunting of all of the costumes. So then you take it off, and it's like Granddaddy Terry Bradshaw. For some reason, it just makes it like even more upsetting.
Does it?
For me, it did. Yeah, it turned. I don't know. It turned. Yeah, time is a flat circle. Like it was totally like.
Well, because the first episode, like I saw a deer, I was like, oh my God, like that's like a wrestler or he's like a bodybuilder. Like this is
Yeah.
a scary, scary person. It's very intimidating. And then it's Terry Bradshaw.
And he's just sad because they've
Yeah.
kind of been mean to him.
They were a little mean
They were
to
a little
him.
mean to Deer.
I have
Yeah.
a bone to pick though. Last week they spoiled it a little bit with Jenny McCarthy correctly guessing that it was Tommy Chong.
By the way, I was so impressed with myself because I called it immediately, and then I realized so did the rest of the world. It was super
The
obvious.
up and smoke part. Was,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then this week, three of them
She
guessed.
didn't say Tommy Chong.
She didn't.
She said Cheech.
She said Cheech or Chong, but the idea that it was Tommy Chong was floated by
It
the
didn't
judges.
sound even remotely like Cheech. If you've listened to Born in East LA even once,
Right.
It was Chong.
It was
Sorry,
Chong.
go ahead.
But she put Tommy Chong out there.
Yeah.
And then this week, three of the judges guessed Terry Bradshaw.
Oh yeah, they
And
did.
so when he takes the
Yeah.
mask off and it's Terry Bradshaw, it's like, okay, well,
Who
I guess they
wins?
were right.
Yeah.
Like, what? The judges should not be correctly guessing who's behind the mask. The
Get
judges
worse
should
at
be
your
there.
job.
The judges should be there to be a smoke screen. The judges should be there to
Throwing out red
eliminate
herrings, yeah.
possibility. Because when they guess it right, then it's no fun because they got it first. I don't want them to get it first. I want to get it first.
No one wants Jenny McCarthy to get anything
I
before
don't want
you
Jenny
do.
McCarthy to
She
outmaneuver
did it.
me on anything.
She took credit for a wrong guess. It was very clearly not Cheech.
But I do feel like now that we have 3 of them, like I need to adjust some of my other picks because I'm like, I get now the caliber of celebrity,
Yeah.
and I think I overshot maybe some of them.
No,
if
because
that's
I
what
think
it's
that
gonna be.
the lower rungs are going to get booted from the show first, leaving only
the A-list
the A-list
talent,
talent.
Right.
Yeah.
A-list
well,
talent.
the hand to the fingers of the producers were very clear in this episode because it was very obvious that
He wanted to leave.
that they were grouped in a specific manner because walking in, Peacock and Monster and
Come on, you're not gonna-
and Lion were
Yeah.
obviously not leaving. So walking in, you knew that it was gonna be Unicorn or Deer.
Yeah.
Should it not have kind of been Unicorn?
I
If
think it
we're-
was 50-50. They said
Okay.
less than 2% separated the bottom 2 singers.
Was
so.
Unicorn auto-tuned?
Yes!
That's upsetting.
Unicorn was unfairly auto-tuned.
That's not. How am I supposed to guess your voice?
Unicorn's
Yeah.
going to go in 2 weeks.
All right.
Because we're going to find it. Because the next 5, we'll go to the next 5. And the next 5, I think.
I'm not trying to be mean to Unicorn here. She seems like she's very sensitive. So Unicorn, if you're listening,
Sorry.
I think Poodle might be out next time, I think.
that makes sense to
Poodle
me.
or maybe Rabbit. No, wait, no, Rabbit, not Rabbit.
No,
Sorry,
Rabbit's
not
gonna
Rabbit.
stay.
Rabbit's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Stay.
Poodle or Raven, who we all think is pretty common,
Ricky
is
Lake.
Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Poodle.
Yeah, or maybe Alien. I'm trying to remember if Alien was any good. I don't remember.
Well, the standouts so far are obviously we've got Rabbit, we've got Lion, Bee,
Monster.
Monster. Don't count out Monster.
I changed after the clues last night. I no longer think it's Wayne Brady. I am on the T-Pain train.
Okay.
From the South, something with
Someone
New
from
York,
the South,
the
moved
Making
to
It
New York.
Rain, like
having the dudes with the grills in the background, I think
Yeah.
was also like a big
Yeah.
because T-Pain was known for wearing grills and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
I think
okay.
it's an un-auto-tuned T-Pain, and I
Well,
think
then
he's trying to prove he
T-Pain.
can
I have
sing.
not
He has a
been.
great
I have not
voice.
been given T-Pain credit for his singing voice. If that's T-Pain.
He has a legit good
well,
voice.
maybe that's the point that he's trying to make, Dan,
Yeah.
with the Masked Singer, the opportunity that he's been given.
And then you can see, like, I
guess so.
created.
I
Because
mean-
then the metaphor is I created a monster with auto-tune.
I like it.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
All right, hang on. Circling back to Unicorn really quick. Who,
Yes.
again, we love you, Unicorn. Know that. Is it Tori Spelling? Because that was the going theory.
Victorious could have been a sign. Some people
Yeah.
also thought maybe it was a Victoria's Secret angel, and like that was what they were kind
They
of.
Well,
kept
then-
showing green balloons.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that means. And then they thought it was a gymnast, but they said the gymnast in the bedroom.
Yeah.
As Mara said, is it a porn star? It's like, I don't think it is.
I really think it's Tori Spelling.
You think it's Tori Spelling?
I do.
I don't know. They haven't
Beverly
really given us
Hills.
a lot to
Yeah.
go on
But
for Unicorn.
specifically Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in Beverly Hills, which is
Yeah.
like not a lot of people could say that, but Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah.
She wrote a book about how unhappy she was with her childhood and her dad. There's just a number of things about that to point to Tori Spelling for me.
Well, I think we're going to.
Victorious.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's true. I think 2 weeks from now, unless somebody really goes south and if they keep the pair the way that they are, then we're going to know who Unicorn is.
Yeah.
Do we think that Lion is Rumor Willis, as everyone is like, that's the front runner contention?
That's what I'm
She's
thinking.
not a recording artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Kardashian Jenner was like a big thing 2 weeks ago, but now it seems like that gold found in Haley.
Oh, she grew up in
Newspaper.
Haley, Ohio.
Who did?
Rumor Willis.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
There
then
it
that
is.
that
Yeah,
seals
yeah,
it,
yeah.
right?
No, Haley, Idaho. Sorry, with her mom. When Demi Moore moved to
Yeah.
Idaho, she lived
Oh,
there.
well
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Well,
There
then
you
they're
go.
making these clues way too easy.
Well, but I
Ben.
don't remember her being a huge activist, though. That hint threw me off quite a bit because it was such a big deal.
I feel like when it comes to activism, people can say they're any kind
She's
of
on
big
Twitter.
activist. You know what I mean? Like it's
I've got a charity,
yeah. Like
the Human Fund.
like I said, she does have she has that amazing voice, and she is. I mean,
Wasn't she on Broadway?
I believe she was on Broadway. I know that she was on Empire, I believe, last season. And so she did record some songs for that. But she's also sang live on the radio. She used to have like a cabaret show. Not cabaret, she might have done that. But she used to have like a little show where it would be like her, at the piano telling stories and then doing her songs and stuff.
That was like, I'm a huge activist clue, where I was like, who in Hollywood that is an actress? So divorce all the other clues. is truly a big activist as well. There's a few possibilities.
Yeah.
All of them are less and less likely, especially because we know she's 5'6" apparently. I think we do. Because I was like,
Lion looked pretty tall.
Lion looked tall,
But
so
she
that
could have
counts
big heels.
out.
The heels, yeah.
Big heels.
Like, who's an actress who's also truly an activist? Ellen Page.
Rose
I mean,
McGowan?
that's-
You can
yeah,
say.
Jolie,
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rose McGowan, Susan Sarandon.
But no, they don't
That'd
fit
be
any
They
of
would
the-
say.
Yeah.
That they would
They
say.
would say yes. Yeah, that'd be
Daryl Hannah?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's Rose
Rose
McGowan.
McGowan.
Just the lion head comes off. That'd take the show in a different direction. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Rumor Willis. It seems like if it is, then they're getting a little loosey goosey
With the
clues because
clues.
you can't give out a hometown because
Yeah.
they did that with Tommy Chong with the
Up
the
in
pipe
Smoke.
and everything and Up in Smoke and then but my big beef is with the judges. Stop! They should not be guessing correctly. They should not be guessing correctly. They're there to be a smoke screen or nothing.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
And they obviously hired people that they didn't think stood a chance of guessing correctly. Look at that team of judges.
I mean, I know it's all taped and there's nothing you can do. It's Robin Thicke and then like 3 other people. I mean, let's be honest.
They got the Avengers of Idiots to host this show.
Nicole Scherzinger's there because she's a musician.
I like the
Robin
idea.
Thicke is there because he's a singer and he
Yeah.
sounds like his dad, which is still freaking me out. Jenny McCarthy's there
Because she was free.
She's
She
a
won by
host.
the law.
and Ken Jeong is there for comic relief.
Yeah.
I
I mean, he's smart,
yeah.
as are the rest of them, is what I was saying. Wouldn't it be amazing if one of them really was one of the Pussycat Dolls? Because there's a rumor that Lion is one of the Pussycat
that'd be
Dolls,
funny.
and she made this whole stink about I would know one of my own singers. What if you
Yeah.
don't?
That'd be funny.
But also, what other Pussycat doll would anyone know? Name a Pussycat doll.
No, I
That's
can't.
not Nicole.
No.
No, well-made point. Yeah.
Yeah. Although they may have gotten their 3 biggest names out of the way. Because it's
hard to
very
say.
obvious who the order right now. When you get down to like 6 is when
Yeah.
it's going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, I really don't know who it's going to be.
I think it's interesting. Again, all due respect to the judges, I do think it's kind of like the athletes are where I would totally fail on this.
Yeah.
I would never, because I just don't know enough about sports to even wager a guess of which team Deer would belong to.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think the producers of The Masked Singer anticipated the intense amount of interest in
don't
their
think they
show.
did.
They thought
Yeah.
people would casually watch it once a week and not dissect it in after shows.
I thought this
There
would
are
be-
spreadsheets. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
This would be on the file. I think they thought this would be up there with like the, who can outrun a cheetah and all of the other just like one-off whatever programming that Fox has produced over the years. I do not endorse their strategy still of just like, what's a thing that someone hasn't done that sounds weird? That's the title of the show. Do it. Like I still don't agree
well, they
with
were
that strategy,
copying,
but
copying the other show.
yeah, it's someone else's show. That's
Yeah.
true. That may be why they're able to pull it off. 'Cause
Yeah.
they did not have to conceive of this idea like who wants to marry a top chef.
Yeah. Oh, I do. If that show exists, I mean, I love you, honey,
wants to marry a
but
top chef?
Yeah,
I
that'd be
want to
great.
marry a top chef. So yeah, they had the other show, so they were copying the format. Have you guys watched the clip of Ryan
Mm-hmm. I
Reynolds?
have, yeah.
Have you?
It's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, he was on it.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
as a unicorn.
Yeah.
And he was singing Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
for Deadpool. But the funny thing is that the mask is so low rent
It's
as
so cheap.
compared to the masks that they have for this version of the show. It's basically like paper dressed as like with a unicorn painted on it.
And there are like 15 judges on the
Yeah.
like they cut to the judges on the Ryan Reynolds show and there's like 15
like
of them.
It's like a
wow.
on risers. They're literally on risers.
there's no
There's so
consensus.
many of them.
It's crazy.
And they didn't identify him, which, maybe it was harder, but to me it sounded exactly like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
singing
I think it just
Tomorrow.
would have been so unexpected for a Ryan Reynolds to be
show
on that
up.
That's
show
true,
that
yeah.
like they would never have guessed that.
I love this show so much, you guys. It's
It is.
definitely end times, right? But
It
at
is.
least it's a party as we dissolve.
If this is how we're gonna go out, there's worse ways. There's worse ways to do it.
Coattails of Lion.
On the coattails of Lion, who we believe is Rumor Willis. But I don't know.
We'll see.
There's some other fun guesses in there as well about Lion. What was another? Oh, okay, wow, I can't believe we haven't talked about Peacock. Okay, so the going theory has been Donny Osmond is a lot, right?
Yeah.
But Joe McHale threw out one that was in the back of my mind, which was Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh.
I still think it's Donny Osmond because it
Didn't you
doesn't
say like
sound
it's
like
been a while since you had posters of me on your wall? But that would
Doogie
be
Howser.
Howser.
Doogie Howser.
But was he friends with Michael Jackson? Was Neil Patrick Harris friends with Michael
Can we
Jackson?
can
I can
we
imagine
can
that.
we Google
Billy,
right?
can you
Billy,
Google if
can
Neil
we
Patrick
Google?
Harris was friends with
Neil-
Michael Jackson?
Yeah, because Donny Osmond apparently was really close with Michael Jackson to the point that he offered him to come live with him in the last year or so of Michael's life.
So nothing conclusive that says that he is, but when he did the lip sync battle, he did Smooth Criminal and dressed as Michael Jackson. So there's a very, very loose.
I think
That's
it's like
not
a
a good
5%
friend.
chance
Yeah.
that it's Neil Patrick Harris.
Because it also doesn't sound like him. We've heard him sing a bunch. It sounds like Donny Osmond.
I think it's probably Donny Osmond.
I hope they course correct next season because there will be a next season,
Yeah.
and they get only platinum selling artists, and they do like 2 truths and a lie with the video package.
Oh,
Yes.
now see, I like that, but also I definitely want to watch more Sports Stars Biff. I'm sorry, we can't do this until I get a Bella twin on the show. Give me a Bella twin. Give me someone from wrestling. I need it. So the depth of my need lets me know it won't happen, but like I need it so badly.
What wrestler would you put under the mask?
Oh my God.
You had to choose one.
If only one.
We only have 20 minutes.
Only one.
left.
Okay, it would definitely have to be Shane McMahon. It'd have to be Shane McMahon. He does that little dumb foot shuffle thing, like that, or like I said, a Bella twin. Probably
Okay.
Nikki.
I'm going Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He would.
I think you would know it right away.
I thought it was
but
Deer. I thought Deer was Stone Cold.
He has,
But I don't know
he has the
wrestling.
most unique voice of anybody.
And
so
he's
I think-
put out like a country album, right?
He does country. He does redneck stuff. Like that's his brand is like the Redneck Ranch or whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't think he does.
Okay.
Like, I don't think he's that far into it.
Okay.
He has his own beer though,
He's of his own beer.
Oh.
and his own reality competition show.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Any final thoughts on The Masked Singer, you guys?
No.
I can't believe this is the one show, and you guys are going to yell at us in comments, but it's on brand, let's be honest, that it's the one show other than Game of Thrones that we
That we
recap
analyze,
once a
that we
week.
really,
You
really
can
break down.
go get a Riverdale recap from 47 different places, and a lot of our friends do them, and that's great. How many places can you go to for this in-depth of a breakdown of The Masked Singer? This is about novelty, and we've gotten so many people to watch this dumb show that I'm starting to feel a little guilty, but mostly excited.
I'm starting to feel like they owe us a check.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
starting to
that
feel like I want a
should
Fox
be grateful.
sponsorship.
I am gonna screenshot some tweets and just like fax them to Fox and be like, not for nothing, no money, but like maybe if they tape the weekend, like you can come hang out and watch.
maybe
some-
if you don't keep the
Oh.
masks after the shoot,
yeah.
send
That'd
them
be
on the
great.
set.
Yeah.
I'd love to mount that deer head on our wall. Are you kidding me? That would never leave the wall of this
Never.
set.
And that is entirely on brand. Mountain deer.
We have a
What
predator
else? Like,
xenomorph over
that's-
there.
From
What-
Dave.
Okay,
Oh,
by the way,
Beauty and the Beast.
that I commissioned that specifically. I asked that to be done for us, and it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, they belong together.
Yeah.
Tales
Someone in the chat, Roth said, "Roth, can you please get Tom Holland to be in season 2 of The Masked Singer?"
Yes.
Have
was
you seen his
on-
umbrella performance?
Yeah, Umbrella was fantastic.
I was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, this is what I tell people when I explain that I'm pansexual. It's that performance. Specifically Tom Holland as Rihanna doing Umbrella. That's what that means.
If you wanted to know what pansexual means,
Watch
now you
that,
do.
then that's-
Watch Deadpool. Yeah.
that is amazing. Yeah, we're on it. I'm talking to my people at Marvel right now.
Get Marvel on the phone.
All right, today, speaking of freaking weird, this is amazing.
we're done with
This-
spoilers,
This
by the
makes
way.
me. Oh yeah, we're done with spoilers.
Everyone who didn't care left long ago.
But this is right on target too for where we're at. M. Night Shyamalan fights with Joe star Sasha Perlraver and Cucumber the Puppet.
Nice.
That's
is
gonna be
on
such
movie
a great
Fights today.
Is Joe like the Joey Bishop of movie fights now? Is he just an anchor on the desk and everyone else just rotates around Joe?
I tweeted out, and it's the truth. You can always tell how stressed I am by how many episodes of Movie Fights Joe does consecutively.
I think that's going to be amazing.
That's
It is
gonna be a great
entirely
fight.
weird and wonderful. And if you want a little, like, just definitive factual art facts, Dan and I have our top 10 movies of the year. That is
Yes.
available for you to watch. We have, what else do we have to watch? Oh, Honest Trailers, but you already did that.
We're going to do a spoiler review for
Commentaries.
Glass coming up
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
Tomorrow night or Saturday at some point. Ooh,
Well, yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
it's
The
like
reviews
Saturday.
have not been good.
The reviews have not been
Very
good.
bad. We're gonna be in the minority on this
Oh.
one, I think.
Well,
I'm ready to talk. I'm really ready to break this down because I will. There's some movies that I'm just like, like, yeah, you're right. It's stupid. Whatever. I'm ready to. I will vigorously defend this film, and I'm looking forward to doing so.
All right, well, that sounds like a movie fight's coming up next couple weeks or two.
Movie talk. Let's have a movie talks. We can't do movie talk. That's taken by
Yeah.
our other friends. But we'll have some movie discussions. Yeah.
Movie rational dialogue.
movie things.
movie
Wait,
things.
Movie,
No,
wait,
no,
no,
damn
that's
it.
a thing too.
All the movie blanks are taken.
Movie shrinks. Movie analysis. Movie. Bye. Movie.